We're here at the Beehive Workspace. It's a bright sunny afternoon and there's so much going on about stakeholder engagement, employees around, customers around. And today's topic is all about how can we really garner the momentum and ensure a perfect fit with corporates all around us. With me is Gopal Gera, well known as the Sales Maximiser. So if you want to increase your profits and the bottom line, you know who to reach out to. And on my left with me is Vijetha Shastry. And as you know, he is one of the most prominent figures when it comes to community engagement. He is a community enabler, making a big difference to ensure collaborations. So we're going to start with the question in terms of how best can we engage our communities to achieve results, business growth, and profitability. And I start with you, Gopal.
According to me today, building a business is about building a community. Community within and community that reaches from within to the world outside. Mm-hmm. It's about building advocacy. It's about building trust-based relationships. And I think it all begins by getting the family in order. It all begins by the internal stakeholder engagement that ensures that external stakeholders are happy, connected, and we continue to build trust with them.
So talking about building trust, and you deal with the community at large, how do you find that perfect balance and bridge the gap, Vijetha?
Thank you so much, Sameera, and Gopal. He has been an inspirational figure for all of us. His energy, the way he articulates the importance of sale and community, very inspiring and very awesome guy.
A round of applause, Gopal.
So now let's talk about the community and the stakeholders that you're talking about, right? So giving a very quick overview. We are in India, we are in Bangalore. Everyone knows that jobs are most important and jobs cannot just come through enterprise, number one. Number two, the startups, the founders who are there, the entrepreneurs who are there, fantastic people. They're building great products, they're building great services. They need support. And that is where the community that Gopal has been talking about comes together. So when I say community, it means not just a co-working space, right? They also need financial and legal support. They also need to understand how to sell. Because just building a great product is never enough. You have to have the ability to take it to market. You have the ability to build a digital marketing, a PR front also. Even if and you got to do this when you don't have too much of money, right? So when we say community and the stakeholders, it's not just about the startups. It's not just about the entrepreneurs. It's also about the various other enablers, the various other enterprises, the mentors, the advisors, the VCs, the fund guys, the legal guys. Everyone comes together, and everyone needs to get something out of this. It's not just enough to give. You have to gain something together. But collaboration, growing together, and making something out of a simple service or a product and taking it to scale. And touch wood, because we are in Bangalore, today we can connect to any market all across the globe. And I think that's what community is all about. Have fun while doing it, which you always talk about that.
Yes, and talking about fun, Gopal, collaboration and sales together, what kind of strategy would you really adopt in reaching out to potential clients? Is it push? Is it pull?
I think it's a mix of both. And today, the difference between the internal and external stakeholders is diminishing. To an extent that if you're a B2B business or a B2C business, let me start from, you will have your internal stakeholders, your employees actually consuming products. So they are also your customers in a way. If you're a B2B business also, the kind of social media strength that every business is wanting to leverage on, and the kind of advocacy that it wants to promote through the trust-based relationships it wants to initiate from within, the internal and external stakeholders are no different. And today I believe the business is constantly building its brand, and the brand is no more the kind of formal communication that paid media is bringing to customers. It is actually the employees that talk about an organization. So I strongly believe that a fun culture at work, employees engaging within the organization and serving the organization with all their heart, it starts from there. And then you will attract the best stakeholders for the business.
And as you rightly said, voices of the employees, what does that mean to the community?
Okay, so the employee is, they say that today employee must come first. It is not just about the customer and your work culture, whatever, because if the employee is happy, if the employee is very geared up and enthused to provide the very best of product and service to the client, half your job is done. then the responsibility of the management is to give them the tools, to give them the work culture, to give them the ambience, and to give them the training to consistently and constantly give the very best of services. Then it's so you're sorted out, and then you'll win. And a couple of things I would like to say, because Gopal has been involved in this also, right? So we have had sometimes the biggest of the biggest corporations like IBMs and the Amazons and the Oracles of the world who come here. You have also been engaging with them. So the enterprise needs a startup. The startup also needs the enterprise. The employees of the enterprise need to be interacting with the startups to build their knowledge and to be able to achieve their KRAs in corporate lingo, as they say. And the startup founders must be able to interact with the business leaders, because what is the real problem that you're solving? Unless you solve a big problem which is well researched, how will you make money? And this is something I think that even the Indian government has been extremely supportive. We have been hearing about the fact that there are so many funds for women entrepreneurs. We have been also hearing about Elevate, which is something that the Karnataka government has started, where they're going to identify the top 100 startups who are innovative. Not just that I've got a great idea. Like, what is the innovation? What's the creativity? What is the problem you're solving? And how big is the the pie of the finance or the money that you're going to make or solve, whatever. So I think that is so important. And of course, with Gopal, the sales maximizer and success coach here, you do such a lot of fantastic work, Sameera, in terms of telling a beautiful story and making it look even more wonderful. I think that's what you're amazing at.
You're flattering me at the moment. And talking so much about innovation, what are the new sales tactics that corporates can use to ensure that they can really reach out?
You're on camera, you're going to give you some free, I don't know, but still go ahead.
Yeah.
I think sales is far more simpler than trying to be tactical at it. Because tactical approaches are short-termish and trust-based relationships are long-termish. So it's a trade-off. You can be tactical and gains advantage out of some kind of tactics, and those will only get you short-term business, the hunting approach. But I firmly believe that businesses should adopt the farming approach, the long-term trust-based relationships that will not only engage internal and external stakeholders, but will take the brand to a completely new level.
So taking trust into consideration, what is it that you can do to establish that trust? Looking at customer centricity, or is it customers being, developing a focused approach? Which one would you choose moving forward?
And this is something very interesting. The word trust, a very important word, a very maligned, misunderstood word also. Very interestingly, I was at a session organized by the JRD Memorial. It was a JRD Memorial lecture, where the Sundaram Fasteners chairman had come, and he kept saying it's all about trust. The trust between the management and the employees, the trust that the employees has with each other, and also the trust that you as a corporation or as a salesperson builds with the and the person that you're selling to. Because I think Gopal also will say, people say that the most amazing salesman can sell ice to the Eskimo. But is it the really right approach? Short term, yes, maybe. Right, if that's the company culture, is that the more you sell this month, this quarter, you get paid, and after that, if the customer suffers, it's not your. But I think what he's saying is very important, that it is about farming, it is about long term, it is about delivering value over a very, very long term period, and where the customer actually trusts you as an advisor, not just as someone whom he has to pay for him or her for the services. So trust, a customer-centric approach, where you're also helping the customer to solve his problem. You're actually doing research on behalf of the customer. You're actually understanding that, okay, for the customer to reach from here to a much higher level, what should I be doing? So that you stay with them in the journey. You also earn your money, which is very, very critical, because that's what the approach should be about sales. But they trust you, it's customer-centric, and it's long-term. And that's what I think we are talking about, and that's awesome.
Yeah, and I think, as you said, Vijetha, it's all about influencer marketing.
True.
Companies would prefer to work with key influencers in the marketplace,
yes,
and ensure how can they be advocates of the brand or of the product or service. And talking about influencers, how do you feel they can impact the sales process in creating engagement with customers long term?
So these influencers for a business actually happen over a period of the business or the employees or the internal stakeholders reaching out, and they become centers of influence who actually open out networks. And I believe that a business today, if it wants to define its net worth, it gets defined by the kind of network it builds. So your network in the business that you're continuously working on will eventually define the net worth of the business. So if your networking And mind you, there is working in networking. So you have to consciously work on networking. It's not about getting likes on Facebook. It's not about just reaching out to people and tweeting all the time. It's actually about working consciously with the external environment, the right kind of people, to be able to build those centers of influence and reach out, making your brand visible, communicating what you want to communicate through your brand, and actually standing for it, delivering that creates trust.
Great. And a final word to you, Vijetha. Look at the opportunities, challenges currently in the marketplace with so many new businesses and business trends catching up. Where do you feel is your biggest challenge, and how do you see yourselves finding a solution and helping corporates win back competitors and clients and partnering together?
Absolutely. So we all know what the headlines are right now. So jobs are being lost. Artificial intelligence is also creating a lot of tumult in the market, and things are changing. Okay, but at the same time, the basics, the foundation does not change. It is about trust. It's about the fact that ultimately you solve the customer's problems. They stay with you. You innovate. You understand what the market needs, not just about today, but say 6 months from now, you will stay in business. Okay, that's number one. Number two, some of the trends that are happening, people have been talking about is gig economy. So a lot of freelancers, a lot of consultants, and which is a good thing because you're getting a lot of fantastic knowledge and talent available on tap for multiple corporations. A lot of the very biggest of companies have started, especially in Bangalore, they started these innovation labs, accelerators, incubators. So again, a lot of top evangelists, mentors are coming together. They're getting the best of founding talent from the startup world to come there, talk about their growth hack opportunities, how they're building better and better products and services. So there's a lot of fantastic work happening. At the same time, you have to be extremely alert, never stop learning, never stop networking, and as Gopal said, the work part of it. Do not compromise on the work part of it. Be honest, be ethical, do good to people, and I think life will be awesome always.
Wonderful. And to try to make life awesome, how do you create that customer experience balance? How do you balance it out between pushing your product or offering your product or service and gaining customer loyalty?
So it's all about constantly evolving your business according to the customer's needs. And there are only two things that make a business relevant and make customers stay with the business for a long term. One definitely is about solving today's problem and challenges. Second, of course, is about giving the customer a desirable future that he or she will dream of. So taking the customer from where he is today to a more desirable future, or second, solving a current challenge that he's facing today. If we as a business can cater to those two requirements, we will always be relevant. We will have customers who will trust us. We will continue to work on the principle of advocacy, build our network that will eventually define our net worth.
Amazing.
That's really a problem solver, and we hope you have found this session useful with collaborations between sales, marketing, customer development, and community engagement, creating much more than a social responsibility, not just to your company but to the community as well. With Gopal Gera and Shastry, Mr. Shastry, Vijetha Shastry, well known in the industry. This is Sameera Fernandes. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, and thank you, Gopal. Thank you, Sameera.
Pleasure.
Fantastic time.
Welcome. Thank you.
Take care.
See you.
Bye, guys.